You haven't had a big fight, nobody cheated, there's no one moment you can point to and say, that's when it broke. But you and the person you love feel further apart than you have in years. Here's a hard truth. Burnout doesn't usually end relationships with a bang. It ends them slowly and quietly. If that sounds familiar, this video will show you exactly what's happening and how to fix it before it's too late. When people talk about burnout, they usually mean work, feeling tired, feeling numb, running on empty. But almost nobody talks about where that tiredness goes once you get home. It doesn't just disappear, it comes home with you. And it shows up as a version of you that has nothing left to give to the person who needs you most. You're not falling out of love, you're not wrong for each other. What's really happening is that the burnout eats up the exact things love needs. Being present, being patient, being curious, touching each other. And when those run out, the connection quietly starves. You stop asking each other real questions. You stop touching, you start acting less like partners and more like two people who just run a household together. Nobody warns you that a brutal few months at work won't show up as a big argument. It'll show up as distance, night after night, until that distance just becomes normal. Think about a regular weeknight for a lot of couples. You get home, you zone out in front of the screen because you have nothing left to talk about. And you tell yourself you'll reconnect on the weekend. Then the weekend comes and you're doing chores or just recovering or already dreading Monday. Weeks turn into months and because nothing bad happened, you don't treat it like a warning sign. You just assume this is what grown-up relations look like once life gets busy. It's not. It's what burnout looks like when nobody stops it. Here's the twist. The opposite of burnout in a relationship isn't a vacation. It's being present. You can't rest your way back to connection if you keep coming home tired and distracted every single night. The real work is realizing your relationship isn't separate from your burnout. It's often the very first place burnout shows up and the last place people think to check. Therapist Esther Perel says it simply. The quality of your life ultimately depends on the quality of your relationships. If that's true, then protecting your relationship from burnout isn't a bonus you get if you have time. It's the actual point. Ask yourself, if your career kept going great, but your relationship kept quietly falling apart, would you still call that success? For most people, the honest answer is no. Yet, we keep spending our energy like the answer is yes. This is where real connection becomes the work. Not big romantic gestures, but the daily choice to show up as yourself, not as the tired, empty version of your job left behind. It also means awareness comes first. Most couples don't decide to pull away from each other. It happens quietly, one tired evening at a time. The first job is just noticing it's happening, without shame and without blaming each other for something that's really coming from outside pressure. Here are 5 ways to start turning this around. 1. Say the quiet part out loud together. Sit down and say plainly, I think work has been taking more out of me than I realised, and I haven't been fully here. One honest sentence like that does more good than a whole month of pretending everything's fine. It also gives your partner permission to say the same thing back, instead of feeling like that they need to defend themselves. 2. Build a coming home ritual. The first 10 minutes after either of you walks in the door sets the tone for the whole night. One couple I know made a simple rule. No talking about chores or problems for the first 10 minutes. Instead, just asking each other, how are you really? It sounds tiny. Within 2 weeks it changed their whole evening because they stopped meeting each other like two tired co-workers comparing to-do lists and started meeting like two people who actually missed each other. 3. Protect one phone-free hour a week. Treat it like a meeting you can't cancel. No phones, no chores, just each other. Burnout thrives when your attention is scattered everywhere. Closeness needs the opposite. Brené Brown writes, connection is why we're here. It's what gives purpose and meaning to our lives. Let that be your reason to protect how this hour, no matter how busy the week looks. 4. Bring back small physical affection on purpose. Burnout usually kills touch first because touch takes energy you feel like you don't have. So start small. A hand on the shoulder. A hug that lasts more than 2 seconds. Sitting close instead of on opposite ends of the couch. Affection works like a muscle. It comes back through use, not by waiting until you feel like it. Usually, the good feeling shows up after you do it, not before. 5. Fix the real cause, not just the symptom. If the workload that caused the burnout doesn't change, your relationship will keep paying the price. Have the hard conversation about boundaries at work. What actually needs to shift so you're not running on empty every night. That might mean talking to your manager about your workload. Or it might mean being honest with yourself about which extra commitments you take on. None of these 5 steps need a big romantic gesture or an expensive trip away. They just need you to treat your relationship with the same care you already give your career. The same planning, the same follow through, the same refusal to let it slide just because nobody's complained yet. I'd like you to do me a favour. I want you to try the following. Have that 10-minute welcome home conversation tonight. If you live alone, call the person you've been quietly pulling away from and tell them one honest thing about how worn out you've been. Now, it doesn't need perfect words, it just needs to be true and said out loud, instead of carried silently for another week. Comment and let me know how it went. It gets easier once you realise you're not the only one going through it. If this describes something you felt but couldn't quite put into words, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments which of these 5 steps you're starting with tonight. Until next time, I'm Dr. Rakesh Rana, the Clear Coach.